So good morning everyone. It's one of the most friendly and most loyal things that someone might have. And also it's easy to use and it's easy to take care of. And personally I've never owned one before, but I will soon. So this thing is the eco-friendly car. What I mean by eco-friendly car, I mean cars that are powered by electricity, only electricity. So electric cars have advantages over gas-powered cars. So since a car is the essential element that we use in our daily life, today I'm going to be talking about how electric cars are good for the environment. Then the second point, how it's convenient to customers. Then finally how electric cars are safer for drivers, especially when it comes to accidents. Because I've heard many people say it's easy that it catch fire easily, but that's not true. So first, it's easy to take care of our environment. So the Electric Power Research Institute has shown that plug-in hybrid vehicles with a 20-mile electric range could save 300 gallons of gasoline annually, eliminating 6,000 pounds of greenhouse gas emissions and reducing air pollution by 38%. And the same study showed also that electric cars can save a lot of lives from air pollution, but only if it's powered by renewable energy. And it says that it might cut the death, but it said the same study found that deaths from air pollution could be cut by 70% if people use the renewable resource, like electric cars. So now I've talked about how electric cars are good for the environment, so I'm gonna move to the second point, which is how it's good for the customer and how it saves us money. So based on electricity rates in 50 cities across the United States, the analysis found drivers can save up to $750 to $1,200 a year compared to operating an average new compact gasoline vehicle, fueled with gasoline at $3.50 per gallon. And also there is a study that said, according to the US Department of Energy, electric vehicles that are only powered by electricity require less maintenance because there is no mechanics a lot. So people don't need a lot of service in it because there is no oil change in this stuff. And something else, it's easy to use because it's like our cell phones. We can charge it wherever we want, shopping, at home, on the road, wherever you want. And actually, something good about electric cars is the hood. There's no engine in the hood, so people can use it to put their luggage in. There's enough space when traveling. So now I've talked about how it's good for the environment and our money. So the third point will be how it's safe for drivers, especially when it comes to accidents. So as mentioned in the chargepoint.com, it's a website for electric cars and for crash tests. It says that electric cars have lithium batteries that carry the risk of overheating. To prevent that from happening, manufacturers use all sorts of technology, such as circuits breakers that will disconnect the battery when sensors detect a collision when it's about to happen. It also said that cooling the battery is important. So according to Tesla, it's a fully powered electric car. It says, for example, that they use radiator coolant throughout the battery pack to keep the temperature as low as possible while the car is running. And according to Elon Musk, is the founder of Tesla, he said for consumers concerned about risk of fire, there should be absolutely zero doubt that it's safer to power a car with a battery than a large tank of highly flammable liquid. So I think electric cars are going to be more famous or are going to be used more in the coming years, since many companies are using it now, like Mercedes and BMW. They're all now manufacturing electric cars. So, and now I talked about the advantages of electric cars over gasoline cars. So how they're good for the environment, how they're good for customers, and how they're safe when it comes to accidents. Thank you.
Yep, I do. All right, Alfadi, the proposition is very clearly identified. I kind of like the fun opening that you have, kind of an interesting attention device. You took that public speaking class, I can tell. The contents were previewed very clearly, and so that's helpful. I do think you need to spend a little bit more time talking about why you have to make an argument about this. There's reticence about people buying these cars. They have not taken off the way people might expect them. That people have these false images or ideas about the car in some way. Why are you having to tell us something is so good that you already think is so good? I'm not quite sure why it's an argument, so I think that needs to be developed a little bit more. The signposts on the interior part of the speech were very clear, so it's easy to follow. I thought you did a good job for the audience in that direction. And you usually explain most of your points as you're going through the process. I do think that there are some questions, for instance, about the air pollution issue, because you make it sound like we only gain these advantages if we're getting our energy from renewable energy sources, and there's not really, so if it's being charged by a power plant that is coal-fired, for instance, apparently we're not going to get these advantages, and there's not really much explanation about how typical, widespread that type of energy is. It's not like you hook up a windmill in your backyard to charge your car. So then the question becomes, are we really going to get any advantage of this, especially on the first point? I think your other arguments are a little bit less dependent on that, but your first one, which is where most of your evidence is and the big significance of the argument is dependent on that issue. You signpost that, like I said, as you're moving to the other points pretty clearly. I thought you did a good job using a variety of evidence. For the most part, it is cited. A lot of it does seem to come from, advocacy groups. I mean, the electric car industry is the source of a lot of your information. So imagine my surprise that they say nice things about their particular product. I think maybe some independent information would be good here that would give your argument more credibility. But you had a good, like I said, a pretty good variety of information on those particular points. You have a little bit more time, so I think there was time to do a couple of things that we were talking about. And you generally speak to the audience. You're doing a solid job there, not overly dependent on the script. All right, thank you.